Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Liaquat and we are going through Kanz al-Daqaiq. Some of you guys are familiar with this series. Some of you guys might have just come across this series recently. This series is about a book, Kanz al-Daqaiq, which is basically a Hanafi text. It's not one of the earliest Hanafi texts. It's like in the middle somewhere. But the text is studied in a lot of places and it's quite condensed, the text is. And even if you know Arabic, trying to get through it can be a mission. So this is why I'm going through this text to try and explain to you guys how the Hanafi madhab works when it comes to trade. So we've reached up to faslun يدخل البناء والمفاتيح في بيع الدار. That the structure and the keys enter into the transaction of or the trade of a house. Now, first of all, what we need to understand is we need to, whenever we are studying any sort of text, we need to understand several things. Number one, the language. Number two, to understand the language, you need to understand the context of that language. So there's lots of words that might be used today, but in 100 years' time, those words might not be used in the same way. Right? So for example, like, you had the word chip. 100 years ago, if a word chip was mentioned, it probably meant to like a chip of a piece of wood. But now if you say chip, you generally kind of think about an electronic sort of a piece of chipboard or something like that. So this is why when it comes to understanding the fuqaha, the jurist statements, it's very, very important that we try and focus and understand how they were saying things in their days. Right? What were they referring to? So for instance, like you got some words here. Al-bina, what's a bina? Which is a structure. Right? So today we have structures as well, but structures in the olden days were a bit different. Today we have skyscrapers. In the past there was no skyscrapers. Today we have a block of flats. In the past they didn't have the concept of block of flats and so forth. You get the idea. Or for example, like a dar, the dar house. So you have like several words here. You have like a ghurfa in today's terms, but in the past they wouldn't say really ghurfa, they would say bait. Bait kind of means a room, a bait. And then several baits put together become a manzil, like a floor, like we say a floor. Like a an apartment or a flat, and a dar would be several manzils put together. So if you got like a property that has several floors, you call that a dar, right? So you got this idea of, let's say people want to buy and sell buildings, like estate agents. They want to sell a house, they want to sell a property, and you want to sell a car or anything really. I mean, this is just an example I'm giving you. So you have to understand the language and also the context of that language as well when that statement was being made. So here it says, the question now which arises, which you need to think about now is, if I'm selling, for example, like my car, what kind of things automatically would come in that contract, would be subsumed in that contract without me even saying them in the contract? Like if I say, I am selling, like let's say you're Zaid, I am selling Zaid my car for, let's say, £3,000. And he says, okay, signs it and says, okay. Now, when I hand over the car, what kind of things must also go with it? Can I pull out the seats and say, well, I didn't agree with the seats? Can I take out stuff that's in the trunk, in the boot, the back? Can I take out stuff, which is maybe, I don't know, like, a TomTom, GPRS or GPS, navigation systems or anything like that? Can I take these things out? CDs or cassettes or whatever. Cassettes in the olden days, by the way. So can I remove these things, or do they have to go in the contract? How does it work? So he says, يَدْخُلُ الْبِنَاء. So what we have to understand is the fuqaha in their days are giving case studies of things in their days where they would sell, and then automatically there'd be certain things that are included in the contract, subsumed, and certain things which are not included in the contract. Right? So he says, when it comes to in the olden days selling a house, يدخل البناء, the structure. So you buy a house, you got the structure, you got these walls, 4 walls, you got a roof, and then inside you got walls, right? You got floors. والمفاتيح في بيع الدار, and the keys for the house. So it's not like I sell you my house and then I start tearing down the walls, say, well, this wall's mine. The keys, I'm not giving you the keys. You got the house, but not the keys. So basically, whatever is understood in them days as being house has to fall into it. And all those things that are part and parcel of it have to fall into it. So how do you kind of define this then? So the way that you define it is anything which is fixed onto the property and it's fixed with the intention of being there permanently, then that is automatically counted as part of the house. So if you take a house, for example, the tiles on the roof, are they supposed to be there fixed permanently? Yes, that comes with the house. Or let's say the chimney, is it supposed to be fixed permanently? Yes, so that comes with the house. Okay, let's say the walls, the decoration on the walls, was that initially when it was put there to be fixed there until until you decide to change it? Yeah, so it's permanent. The flooring, etc., the carpets, the tiles in the kitchen and in the bathrooms. What about something like a stove? Would a stove be considered to be permanent? And in the UK, you have central heating system. I don't know wherever you guys. Do you guys have central heating systems where you guys are outside the UK? Put in the comments if you do. And so you got this idea of different things in the house. If they're supposed to be there, part of the permanent fixtures, then they can automatically fall under the contract, right? You can't, the seller cannot remove them. Now let's go to a car, for example. If you got a car and I sell you my car, what kind of things are going to be considered to be permanent fixtures of the car? So engine, right? I mean, stuff like car seats, steering wheel, the windows, tinted windows, the wheels really are supposed to be there permanently. Yeah, extra things that are left in the glove compartment, maybe things that are put in the boot at the back. These kind are extra things, and those are not expected to go into the contract. So that's very important to understand, because when people buy and sell things, there's going to be lots and lots of arguments. One of the things which I think it's very important to understand is whenever we study the chapter of trade, it's always been written and understood in the context of an Islamic judicial system. So a court system, basically. So in other words, if you live in a country where there's no Islamic court system or doesn't implement this, understanding the fiqh is going to be very difficult, because you don't know how exactly it's going to be like kind of overseen. Does that make sense? It's going to be supervised. So the courts kind of supervise everything in the community. If there's any arguments, you come to the court looks at it, and the court can use its policies and its laws to give a decision. So يدخل البناء, the structure, والمفاتيح في بيع الدار, when it comes to selling the dar. And just because it's mentioned dar, it doesn't mean it doesn't apply to other things. It can apply to other things as well. But like I said to you, they are giving you case studies, and then we have to try and reverse engineer the case studies to try and understand what these guys are saying. Next, والشجر في بيع الأرض بلا ذكر. Yeah. So shajar, this is ataf onto bina. So the tree, في بيع الأرض بلا ذكر. So let's say, for example, I have a plot of land, a large plot of land, and let's say there's about 10-15 trees scattered around. If I sell you this land, do you expect the trees to come with it? Like, would you expect me to remove the trees? Or would trees normally be associated with the land fixtures, permanent fixtures? Permanent fixtures, isn't it? So he says, وَالشَّجَرْ فِي بَيْءِ الْأَرْضِ, and trees when it comes to selling land, بِلَا ذِكْر, without even mentioning them in the contract. So in other words, in the contract, when you sell the property, you don't have to say, I'm selling this house with the keys, with the tiles in the bathroom, with the central heating, and with the carpet in the hallway. You don't have to say that kind of stuff. That's automatically understood. And likewise, when you're selling a land, you don't have to say, I'm selling this land and there's 15 trees that come with it, and these are the trees and blah, blah, blah. No, you don't have to even say that, because these are things which are considered to be in urf, in the convention, to be considered to be permanent fixtures, so you don't really need to kind of separate them. However, what about, let's say I had a land, and on this land, وَلَا يَدْخُلْ الزَّرْعُ فِي بَيْءِ الْأَرْضِ. What if I had a land and I was growing wheat on there? So I've got like, 1 acre land, and I'm growing wheat on there. So if I sell you the land, is wheat normally grown to be a permanent fixture on the land, or is it something assumed to be removed after a certain while? Removed, isn't it? So that's why these kind of things are considered to be temporary fixtures, right? They're not permanent. So that's why that would have to be mentioned in the contract. Just like, for example, if you had stuff in the back of your car in the boot, right? In the, maybe Americans say trunk. So in the trunk of your car, if you had stuff in there, if you wanted to sell that as well, you'd have to mention it in the contract. You have to say, I'm also including with the car, the stuff in the trunk or the boot. So likewise, when you're selling land, you need to explicitly mention if you're going to be selling crops or, a paddy field and it's got rice in there, you have to mention the rice as well. Put in the comments anything else you'd kind of think that you'd you'd have to associate as well. You know, sometimes on online or on the TV, they might be selling something and say, batteries not included. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they're selling, like, let's say, for example, a toy, and they say batteries not included. They're saying that because they want to get out of that kind of sort of scenario where someone says, well, you advertised it with batteries, and I thought you were selling it with batteries, so I am paying for the toy with the batteries. So by saying this like disclaimer there, it's like they're exempting it, right? They're omitting it from the contract. So likewise, these are kind of things that someone might want to do as well. You know, in today's time when they're selling a house or something, they might say, I'm selling this house except for the furniture, right? Or they might say including the furniture, you know, fully furnished house I'm selling. So this is where you want to be careful in wording. So Islamically, remember, it's mubadalatul mali bil mal, isn't it? So you're selling a house, it's mal. You're giving me cash, that's mal. And we both want to be happy with what we're getting. And if we're not getting what we agreed upon, then this is going to cause fights. This is, yeah. And we've already got enough problems. Coronavirus is enough for us at the moment. We don't want to end up in lots of other fights. So he says, لا يدخل الزرع. He says, plants, crops, vegetation is not going to be included, subsumed, included في بيع الأرض, in the selling of the land. It won't be included. بلا تسمية, without specifying it, without explicitly mentioning it. تسمية. سمى يسمي تسمية, without mentioning it. ولا الثمر في بيع الشجر. And no thamar, no fruit. Fruit will not be included in selling trees. So let's say you got a tree. I've got this massive tree. Can people sell trees? Yes, why not? Is it mal? Yes. Trees are mal, isn't it? People value trees. I mean, people buy Christmas trees when it's Christmas. People buy apple trees, and people buy pear trees in the summer or in the spring, and they plant them in their garden. So if you go to these nurseries, these garden places, you can actually buy a small little tree or even saplings even. So the selling of the tree is permissible, but if you want the fruit that are on the tree, so let's say I've got this massive apple tree and it's got all this fruit on there, and I said, you want to buy this tree? And you say, this is wonderful, all those fruits are going to be worth a lot. And I say, okay, the tree is for £100. And you go, yeah. And I say, well, wait a minute, you know that the fruit don't come with it, do you? He goes, but don't they? I say, no, because fruit are meant to be temporary. They only grow for a little while, and they're meant to fall off or be picked off. So وَلَا يَدْخُلَ الثَّمَرِ. Thamar are not included in the selling of the tree. Then he says, إِلَّا بِالشَّرْط, except with shart. Shart meaning except with condition. Now I want to finish off today with this idea of shart when we're doing transactions. How does shart work? So look, when you have a contract, any contract that you have, you have to conform with the definition of mubadalatul mali bil mal bil taradi. Okay, so mubadalatul mali bil mali bil taradi is basically the main sort of idea of how transactions are supposed to work. Now, if you stipulate a condition, if you make this contract contingent to something else, then we have to look at that condition, because if it goes against the idea of this contract, then it can't be allowed, right? So there's 5 types of contracts, 5 types of conditions that you need to be aware of. Number 1, any condition that strengthens the meaning of this contract. Any condition which conforms with the meaning of mubadalatul mali bil mal bil taradi is something which is permissible. For example, like when I sell you, let's say, a mobile phone, what do you expect? Well, you expect the phone to be given to you. And what do I expect? I expect the money to be given to me. So if I stipulate in the contract, I say, I am selling you this phone on the condition that you hand over the money to me. And you say, I am giving you this money on the condition you hand over the phone to me. Those conditions are totally permissible because they actually conform with what the contract is about. Right, that's allowed. Number 2 is those conditions which they strengthen the contract. For example, I say to you, I'm selling you this phone on the condition that you sign this document. Yeah, or you give me a receipt. Or you say the vice versa to me. Sometimes you go to buy a car and you want a receipt from that person. Although it kind of it's not really mentioned in the contract. Mubadalatul mali bil mal bil taradi. It's not really mentioned that you need a receipt. But what do receipts do? They strengthen confidence in the contract. So now if there's some problem later on, you can go to court, you can show them the receipt, and you can get your case solved. That's the second one, right? That's allowed. Number 3 is any condition that goes against the contract. It's contingent on the contract, but it goes against the foundations of the contract. For example, like if I say, I am selling you this, you say to me, I am buying this mobile phone off you in the contract on the condition that, I don't know, I want a guarantee with it as well, right? Automatic guarantee. That goes against the contract because mubadaratul mali bil mal bitaradi does not guarantee that, you're going to get the item. So, but this is allowed because of the convention. Convention allows it, society allows it. So if society allows such a condition, it's allowed, right? So society determines the permissibility of this. Number 4 is the same thing, but if society doesn't allow it. So for example, let's say you buy the phone off me and you say, I want this phone on the condition that you also buy me a SIM card as well. Yeah, you also pay for my SIM card, phone card, and you pay for my bills for the next two months. Yeah, I mean, that goes against the whole idea. Mubadaratul mali bil mal simply means you buy the phone off me, you give me the money, and end the story. Where's this extra condition that you're... So the rule is this: any condition, extra condition, which goes against the contract, which is not accepted by the urf, and it has benefit for either me, the seller, or you, the buyer, or even the item if it's a human, then that would not be allowed. It's bait. This renders the bait to be fasid. All right, so the contract is fasid. Contract goes through, but I'll mention more about this next time, inshallah, because this is a bit kind of like tricky. But when we talk more about sharts, this is the one we're going to be talking about. And this is where a lot of people, like nowadays, when they buy something and they buy it with warranty or guarantee, or they have some like cashback sort of like condition, or like a bank says to you, you deposit money with us, and we'll give you, if you bring anyone to us, we'll give you this much money, like a gift. So all these kind of like things are associated with this one. And the 5th one, the last one, is any condition which goes against the contract but doesn't benefit anyone at all. Not me, not you. Like for example, if I say, I'm going to sell you my car on the condition you wash it every Sunday. There's no benefit in there for anyone. Not for me, not for you, not even for the car. Car is not alive. So then that condition will be nullified, but the contract is totally fine. Anyway, we'll finish there. Idea of today's lesson is what automatically falls into a contract and what doesn't fall into a contract. And we said it's all based around this principle of, is it a permanent fixture or not? And the idea of sharts. So put in the conditions. Put in the comments what you guys think, and also some more examples or questions that you guys might have for me, and I'll try to answer them. And until next time, jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair, guys, for all of your support. Without your support, I wouldn't have been able to produce the videos that I've put up on my YouTube channel. And there is so much more that I really want to do. And without the support of you guys who are patrons, generously supporting this channel, I've been able to get myself a camera, which, as you guys can see, the quality of this camera, a mic system, software. I've been able to hire an editor. So what do I want to do? I want to make lots and lots and lots of more videos for beginners, for intermediate, advanced, in the subjects like Arabic and Fiqh and Hadith and Tafsir and Aqidah and all those other things as well. And for this to happen, again, this channel needs support. So if you guys want to become patrons and support this channel, then check out the link below. Also, if you do become patrons, you'll have access to videos that I don't put up on my normal YouTube channel. So check that out, inshallah. And there's most other perks as well that you guys can benefit from. And if you want to access this channel through social media, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, Facebook page, and other things as well that you can visit. So jazakumullah khair again, guys. Thank you very much for your support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for watching this video. I hope to see all of you guys. If you guys are interested, please leave us feedback, get in contact with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.